Next, let's queer up gay culture. If you are queer, single, and over 50, study shows you will probably stay that way. Aging is one of the unique challenges the LGBTQ plus community faces. If you're single and nearing 50, chances are that you might stay that way. This isn't a prediction, but a probability based on research commissioned by SAGE, an advocacy group for LGBTQ plus elders. Moreover, in 2023, Pew Research Center study shows that about 62% of adult gay men, regardless of age, identify as single. Native Son Now, a nonprofit organization for Black, gay, and queer men, recently shared this finding on Instagram, sparking nearly 400 comments. Reactions were mixed, reflecting the complexities of long-term singlehood within the LGBTQ plus community. LGBTQ plus individuals even foster community and select a chosen family to support them. However, in some aspects of getting older in this mode, aging presents unique challenges. LGBTQ plus elders are 4 times less likely to have children than their straight counterparts, potentially limiting their access to biological family support. SAGE raises concerns about elder care, affordable housing, and financial security as LGBTQ plus people age. Organizations like SAGE and San Francisco's Open House offer supportive programs for queer elders in urban areas, but those outside of those areas may face greater difficulties finding companionship and support. You know, being single isn't terrible, but not having community and not having people, a tribe of people around you, right, that is definitely a horrible feeling. Right. To feel isolated or left out or neglected. And I think that the main concern is that at some point we're all going to need to depend on somebody else. Right. And age is just one of those things that is common for each one of us. And at some point we're going to be dependent on those around us. And so hopefully we have the right amount of community around us. But what do we do for people who don't live in our beautiful community here in Fort Lauderdale and Wilton Manors? You know, like you live in, I don't want to say bumfuck because I don't know if that's allowed, but
sure it is.
Yeah. You know, like you live out in the middle of nowhere and gay culture is not there or not supportive. What do those people do?
Right.
So I think it is our responsibility as a culture, and thank you, SAGE, and all of the other organizations who are making efforts to make these changes. But it's our responsibility to look out for both our young people who are coming up in their queerness and our old people who have been holding it down for years.
Yeah.
You know, interesting, I just came back from DC at the Ryan White conference. And hold on to your pearls, because I was taking a workshop on geriatric care. So specifically with people aging with HIV. Okay. And they consider geriatric care 50 plus.
I don't.
I don't either. But nonetheless, the issues that we have, and it's just the LGBTQ community, is that social aspect, right? We have so many of our people, especially if they are living with HIV, they're kind of isolated. They become isolated. They become depressed. Mm-hmm. They don't have a social network. They don't feel they can connect to the younger generations. Mm-hmm. And all I can say is, please get out, because I know I'm at 61 and I'm having a time of my life. So, you know, you can meet anybody out anywhere and have a great time and enjoy being out and being part of a community. Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of aging, is continuing to build that circle. I see my own mother who lives on the other side of the state, and slowly her friends have passed away, and she's slowly, you know, I'm like, you need to get out, you know, go to the clubhouse and play cards, go play dominoes, go, you know, she used to golf with you every day. Right. And so it's a challenge, and it's challenging for anybody aging.
You know, my husband has worked in post-acute senior living, elderly care for years. And one of the things that I always like when I hear him talking about it, he brings up the fact that for a lot of LGBTQ plus people, moving into a community center, elderly care living center, oftentimes brings with it like this sense of having to go back into the closet. Because there's not there, and if you think about it generationally, because of the AIDS pandemic in the 80s and 90s, we lost a generation of LGBTQ plus people who would have already been in elderly care and kind of created a culture. So it's a new venture. Right. We have to be attentive to it as time progresses.
Right.
Yeah. And you know, I feel like, and to expound on your point there, there's I'm part of it. There's kind of this gap generation because you're slightly older than I am, but but especially people 65 plus. A lot of them, for better or worse, didn't come out until later in life,
Right.
and they do have kids, and at this point, grandkids that hopefully many of them will be able
Right.
to go to. And the generation, the one behind you, the Gen Zers and the Gen Alphas, are growing up in a world of marriage equality and the idea of queer people having kids isn't a foreign idea to them at all.
Right.
But then you've got my generation that, to a certain extent, that we just missed the AIDS pandemic of the 80s and the 90s, but we didn't have marriage equality. And I, like you, I am not approaching 50. I am going away from it at this stage in my life. But what do you do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when you're over 50, I mean, when you're in your 20s, oh yeah, we'll hook up, we'll live together, and we'll form our lives, and we're just gonna mesh like that, and it's gonna be great. I'm 52. I mean, I welcomed a dog into my home this year, and it was like a major life intrusion. You know what I mean? So it's hard. We're facing a time, and I have no answer.
Yeah.
Just hopefully, plenty of Absolute vodka that I referenced in the previous story.
Not to keep talking about my husband, although he is hot. You're welcome.
He really is. He is. Yeah.
He is. But he and his previous partner, they were together for, we'll just say a few years, but for a while. And they actually went to the courthouse in Massachusetts and challenged the court to change the birth certificates for their children so that they could be parent one and parent two rather than father and mother. When they adopted the sibling set of three, it said father and mother on the birth certificates, and they said only one of you can be listed. But they challenged that. And now, that's no longer a thing that is a challenge for people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like adopting and two men having children through surrogacy or adoption or whatnot. Like there's just so many different options. So you're right. There is this gap generation in between. So I'm sorry, but you can come to my house.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Do you have vodka?
Yes.
I'm there.
Okay.